Hey everybody, what's up? Good morning, if you will. It's very early in the morning here, Monday, December 6th. We are 19 days, or 18 and a half days, or whatever you want to call them, away from Christmas. So, anyway, I'm looking at my time here so I don't go over. But anyway, in my hand here, I have the 2010 and 11 bowl schedule for the college football season. That's right, the college bowl schedule is out. The teams have been assigned to the bowls, to the bowl games. So let's get started. I'll give you some interesting tidbits and tidbits and information on some of these bowls that you may have not known of, unless you downloaded the Bowl Bound app. Oops, wrong one. But the Bowl Bound app onto your iPhone, iPad, or iPod, or Android, or whatever. So, and it's got the bowl matchups on there too. But anyway, let's get started, shall we? The first game, and I'm gonna go and the times they come on, I'm gonna go by Pacific, because when you click on the link I provide here, it'll be all Eastern times, so I'll be telling it in Pacific time. So anyway, let's get started. First of all, the first bowl game of the bowl season, for the college football bowl season, will be the New Mexico Bowl. It'll be BYU and UTEP. UTEP being in a bowl for the first time in, I think, a while. Like I said, in a while. And BYU will be in the last bowl as a Mountain West representative, because BYU is going independent next year. And that's going to be at 11 o'clock a.m. December 18th, basically a week from this Saturday. Then following that game at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time will be the Humanitarian Bowl, Northern Illinois and Fresno State. Now here's a tidbit on this. Brad Edwards, who was in charge of the Bowl Bound thing, basically doing the projections and everything of what teams could go where, or what schools could go where, he projected that Nevada would probably end up here. Not a smart move. Well, that would not be a smart move, and fortunately the Humanitarian Bowl representatives and committee realized it wouldn't be a smart move, since Nevada beat Boise State. So instead they choose Fresno State to face Northern Illinois in the Humanitarian Bowl, which is pretty good. Then we have, to close out the first day of the college bowl season, or the college football bowl season, the last bowl game on the 18th will be the New Orleans Bowl, and that will be at 6 p.m. Pacific time. It'll be Ohio and Troy, so that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Ohio from the MAC, Troy from the Sun Belt will meet in the New Orleans Bowl. Then 3 days later, which will be Tuesday, December 21st, will be the St. Petersburg Bowl. That will be at 5 p.m. Pacific, and that will be Southern Mississippi and Louisville. Now, a lot of people thought that the St. Petersburg Bowl committee might choose USF, so South Florida, seeing as though they'd be the more logical choice for ticket sales, but instead of going in that direction, in which would probably gotten them a sellout possibly, instead they decide to go by the records. So despite the fact that you could suggest, oh, you should go by what's local, instead, instead some of these bowl committees go by the records. Records like, okay, since Louisville lost to this team, they're going to end up here, or, you get the idea. So yeah, Southern Mississippi will face Louisville in the St. Petersburg Bowl on the 21st, on Tuesday, December 21st, and that is the only bowl game that day, and again, that is at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Then the bowl game, which to me, as a wrestling fan, I look at as the matchup that's just going to steal the opening portions, if you will, the opening card portion of the bowl season. As a wrestling fan and UFC fan or MMA fan, I look at this I look at these first couple of bowls that happen before Christmas, before Christmas, as the opening card of the bowl season, as the opening matchups, if you will. And the one I believe that's going to steal the show on the opening card portion of this bowl season will be the Las Vegas Bowl. It'll be December 22nd. It'll be the only bowl game that year. That day will be on a Wednesday. It'll be Utah versus Boise State. Now here's what's ironic. Both these teams earlier this year were ranked in the top 5. And now look where they're at. Now Boise State could have ended up where Stanford is if they did not lose to Nevada. But instead, Boise State in the last matchup, in the last bowl game, as a WAC representative, will be going to Las Vegas Bowl and basically give us a preview. Well, actually they won't be giving us a preview, because this is also the last bowl game that Utah will have as a Mountain West representative. So, last bowl game as representatives for the respective conferences before they move into the new conferences next year. Utah versus Boise State, which I believe is going to be the bowl stealer, the game stealer of the opening round, if you will, the opening round of the bowl season. Then, the next day, which is also the only day we have a bowl game, will be the Poseta Bowl. It'll be Navy versus San Diego State. Now, the Poseta Bowl committee actually did the right thing, and they went with the local team instead of going out and saying, okay, we're going to take this team, and this bowl can take our team. No, they went out and they got the team that plays at the stadium where they're having the Poseta Bowl at. So it'll be Navy and San Diego State in San Diego. That game will be on the 23rd, and that will also be at 5 o'clock Pacific time. Then on Christmas Eve at 5 Pacific, also at 5 Pacific time, 5 p.m. Pacific time on Christmas Eve, will be the Hawaii Bowl. And just like the Poseta Bowl, the Hawaii Bowl got the local team that plays at Aloha Stadium back again for I don't know how many upteenth time. It'll be Hawaii and Tulsa in the Hawaii Bowl on Christmas Eve at 5 o'clock Pacific time. Locally for them, that would be maybe about, well, I guess 2:30. Let me see here. I guess that'd be about 2:30, 3:30. Yeah, this would actually be about, well, if it's about 5, it'd be about 3 o'clock out there is when it would start. So 5 p.m. Pacific time here, 3 p.m. Hawaii time there. But that's the Hawaii Bowl. Then, the day after Christmas Eve, December 26th, which would be on a Sunday, it would be the only bowl game on a Sunday, it'll be the Little Caesars Bowl, Florida International, FIU, in the first bowl game ever, taking on Toledo. Now, here's the thing. I told you I was going to do a little bit of trivia to give you a little background information on some of these bowls and what was being projected. Brad Edwards, like he did with Humanitarian Bowl, projected a certain team or teams going into this bowl. Well, here's what he projected for the Little Caesars Bowl. He projected 2 teams from the MAC conference, the Mid-American Conference, competing in this bowl game because there's so many. Because this year we got more eligible bowl teams than we've ever had. So, eligible schools for bowl games than we've ever had. So he figured it would probably be Northern Illinois and Ohio facing each other. Fortunately, that did not happen, and it's worked out to the point that you got a Sun Belt representative against a MAC representative in the Little Caesars Bowl in Detroit on Sunday, December 26th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Then on Monday, December 27th at 2 p.m. Pacific time, it'll be the Independence Bowl on ESPN2. A lot of the bowls I mentioned before then are all on ESPN. This is the only one so far on ESPN2. It's the Independence Bowl. It'll be Air Force versus Georgia Tech, and that'll be on December 27th, the only bowl game that day, at 2 o'clock Pacific time, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Then the next day we have 2 bowl games on the 28th. 2 bowl games on the 28th, which will be on a Tuesday. At, I'm trying to think here, 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. At 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, it will be the Champs Sports Bowl. It will be West Virginia and North Carolina State. Now here's a little bit of trivia here as I check my time for a second. Okay, I got about 3.5 minutes. But here's a little trivia on this. Here's a little bit of trivia on this. Brad Edwards projected for the past few weeks that Notre Dame could end up here. And if they didn't have a Big East representative or an ACC representative, that is not the case. They do have an ACC representative. It's North Carolina State, and they will take on West Virginia in the Champs Sports Bowl. And I'll get into why, you know, Notre Dame did not accept an invitation to this bowl, even if it was given to them, or why the school didn't. And again, that game at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time on December 28th. The game that follows that, though, will be the Insight Bowl. It'll be Missouri and Iowa, and that'll be at 7 o'clock Pacific time, following the Champs Sports Bowl on December 28th. Then December 29th, we have 3 bowl games to get into. The first one is the Military Bowl. This will take place at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. The Military Bowl, which was formerly the Eagle Bank Bowl, it'll be East Carolina and Maryland one-on-one. That's going to be a pretty good game. That's at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. That's on the 29th. Following that, at 3 p.m. Pacific time, we will have the Texas Bowl. It'll be Illinois and Baylor in their first bowl since 1994. That's basically 16 years ago. So that's the Texas Bowl, following the Military Bowl, and that'll be at 3 o'clock Pacific time, Illinois and Baylor. Then you got the Alamo Bowl, which will be Oklahoma State and Arizona, and that'll be at 6:15 p.m. Pacific time, and that will follow, like I said, the Texas Bowl. But this is Oklahoma State and Arizona in the Alamo Bowl, which should be a pretty good contest. So we'll see what happens there. Let me check my time again. Okay. And I'll be back with the continuation of this because I don't want to go over like I've done with previous videos in the past.